She could get you high, all the dopamine inside triggers fast once she's naked. Her body's information. They say the devil made her for his entertainment, but even he couldn't learn how to contain it. Her high heels make a damn good statement. There is no replacement, a body by saying she got a grabbing waist, and we tearing down this place. Off the liquor that we chase, got some egos to the face, baby. I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything is straight away. 'Cause she's like saying stripes, cocaine, that's so insane. Trying to sell it, clothing like she was up on a tight frame. Like when she got shades, everything in a play. I feel like an addict 'cause she's sex, drugs, cocaine.
Bang, what is it?
Eh?
What?
Bang, what's the situation? Bang is what come up with. What's the situation? Yeah, first Goreka, pakunya kote ngoruka rakabwa.
What look like a macunyamo?
Roya mana?
Ha?
Roya mana? Cara kesempatan
Udah cek.
Mama.
May bago ka. Nagoy.
Jigger na kito no tenikam.
Ay.
Ya? Yan baba. Sa.
Okay. Etwatwa. Lakeside.
Tapos ba? Bakit ito yung surko na na? The kilometer for like
Losing time, I'm fading fast. I just wanna make it last. Try to let go of the past. I close my eyes and face the blast. Sleepless nights and headache stack. Restlessness to hell and back. What's my purpose? What do I grab? Slippery surface, a heart attack. And sometimes you just gotta believe. There's something that'll give you relief. There's something that'll have what you need. What you need. We're broken, it's tragic. We're not all elastic, but maybe there's magic. Believe you could have it. And I know of sadness, the anxious and panic, the infinite vastness of all that is blackness. every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Fuck me, I'm looking in the mirror, so foggy, but I've never seen clearer. I don't really think anyone can save me, and honestly I'm not really sure I want saving. I like to be my own worst enemy. There's no risk if you don't try anything, so I'ma just get buying everything. See you in the next life, have to be a better me. I don't think that my head's on straight, gotta flip it and grip it and go and get an x-ray. What's wrong with me? I just feel weight pushing on my chest and it squeezes till I suffocate. Better change my mindset, meditate. It's pretty cool that I'm alive and have better days. I could walk, see, hear, I should celebrate. Think I could change my mind, maybe elevate. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. Kinda stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do I work hard or live at my pace? You're only young once, yeah that's all great, but I also want a future where I'm okay. Living life is doing lots of cocaine. Wait no, it's living with no shame. Wait no, it's sleeping in on Sundays. I guess it's different for each of us and that's okay. Well I just wanna be happy. How to get there? I'm glad that you asked me. I think it's different for everyone. Some of us need work, others need fun. Some of us need purpose to overcome. But try to do what you love when it's said and done. Cause there's so many differences in each of us. Trust your gut, it can show you what you want. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days.
Suspects accused of raping 8 women at an abandoned mine dump in Krugersdorp. At least 14 men have so far appeared in court on multiple counts of rape, aggravated robbery and sexual assault. An armed group of men attacked the women together with a film crew at a mine dump in West Village last month while shooting a music video. News of the gang rape sent shockwaves across the country and sparked anti-illegal mining protests on the West Rand. Meanwhile, the NPA's Pindim Etwatwa says the state has opposed the media's application to film the court appearances.
As the NPA today, we had to oppose the media's application to film, reasons being we are not yet done with conducting identification parades. There are still more victims that needs to come and attend the ID parade. So hence we could not allow a process where their faces are shown in public so that we secure a successful ID parade.
Meanwhile, the court has ultimately ruled in favor of the state and filming has been barred.
Marikana. A decade later, Eyewitness News asks, what has changed in the past 10 years?
A decade later, and justice remains evasive for the families and victims of the Marikana massacre, and 10 years on, there are still no convictions. To date, the only ones who stood up in court were 270 surviving miners blamed for the deaths of their colleagues. They were eyewitnesses to the shootings which claimed the lives of 34 miners, and those charges were later withdrawn. However, there have been prosecutions on relatively minor charges and on charges relating to the 9 deaths that took place in the week leading up to that fateful day, but there were still no convictions. Bernadette Woods takes a look.
The only charges any police officers ever faced over the events of 16 August are defeating the ends of justice and contravening the Commission's and IPID Acts. They were brought against former Deputy Police Commissioner for the North West, William Mpembe, and 3 other senior officers for lying about where Modisotsile Sakalala died and not reporting it to IPID. They were acquitted last March. Meanwhile, the only murder charges so far, in connection with a total death toll of 44, were brought against 6 police officials, Mpembe among them, and against 17 minors in connection with the murders of a total of 9 workers, police and security officers in the lead up to the 16th of August. Both cases are dragging through the courts, with the latter not even having reached trial stage yet. Bernadette Wicks, Eyewitness News.
While for more on the Marikana massacre coverage, visit ewn.co.za. Home Affairs Minister Aaron Motsoaledi says they've hired private lawyers to address backlogs as the expiry Zimbabwean exemption permit looms. The future of thousands of Zimbabweans hangs in the balance with the permit set to expire in December. In November last year, government had announced its decision to discontinue the permits by the end of the year. That means Zimbabweans will have to legitimize their stay in the country through other means. Khumutsu Modise has the details.
To acquire a work permit in South Africa, Zimbabweans will have to prove that they possess a special skill, or they'll have to apply for an exemption from the Labour Department. That is where many are stuck, as the department deals with heavy backlogs. When asked about this, Home Affairs Minister Aaron Motsoaledi would not be drawn.
What I can tell you is that we have put together a team that is led by the former DG in the presidency, Dr. Luis. We put him together with a team of lawyers from the private sector who will sit every day to process these documents to make sure that we don't develop any backlog.
The Institute Foundation has approached the courts to challenge the scrapping of the ZDP certificate. Home Affairs is digging in its heels. Khumutsu Modise, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
And calm has been restored in Sierra Leone today, a day after violent protest over the country's economic challenges. Authorities say 4 police officers were killed during yesterday's demonstrations, while several others were injured. Police and troops have been monitoring the streets of the capital Freetown, and some shops in the city's central business district have now reopened. Yesterday's protests by market women to draw attention to economic problems descended into clashes between security forces, with calls from some demanding that the president resigns. The gold is trading at $1,791.63 an ounce. The rand is at 16.22 to the dollar, 19.78 to the pound, 16.73 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $99.03 a barrel.
At this point in the traffic in Sunning Hill, we still see that accident on the N1 South just before Rivonia Road. This one is causing delays if you're driving through from the Buccleuch interchange. In Bryson, we have that overturned taxi on William Mickle Drive just at Grosvenor Road. There are delays on William Mickle Drive in both directions between Hobart and Maine.
In your sports, friendships put aside as Mamelodi Sundowns take on Kaizer Chiefs in the DSTV Premiership on Saturday. FIFA extend the World Cup by 1 day. And Australia's cricket stars donate prize money to Sri Lanka.
Fine weather conditions in Gauteng today, both Johannesburg and Vereeniging starting at 5 degrees and peaking at 25, Pretoria 6 and 26 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour, the oversight visit by Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources and Energy at illegal mining hotspots in Gauteng has exposed glaring gaps within government.
Eyewitness News, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.mobi.
Unlimit your business connectivity with Telkom Business new Endless Fiber from only R579 per month on a 12-month contract. Unlimit your workspace, reach new customer markets, and expand your digital presence. Keep your business connected and at the top with 25 megabits per second and experience a super fast, seamless way to expand your business. Dial 10213, click telkombusiness.co.za or go to any Telkom shop. T's and C's apply.
Current events, developing stories, tough questions, your voice, making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bombani Bengo on 702.
Well, say what, the oversight visit by the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources and Energy at illegal mining hotspots is really exposing what many residents in nearby communities have known all along. There are glaring gaps in terms of government's plan to deal with the challenge of illegal mining. The Minister, Gwede Mandashe, was saying yesterday it's going to take 17 years for government to close all the shafts that have been left open by previous mining operations. 17 years, that's how long it's going to take. Because remember we were having a conversation about, do you bring in the army, do you improve policing? One of the things we put out there was, okay, what if they just close the shafts, right? 17 years it's going to take. We are closing at this rate around 40 per year. 40 per year. Over the last 3 years, we've closed 135 holes, and of those 135, 52 were on the West Rand alone. Mandasha says at that rate, if you take into account all the holes that we have, all the shafts that we have, it's going to take 17 years. And so the portfolio committee goes on an oversight visit and they go, oh, there are gaps in how government is dealing with this. Breaking news. We got a harrowing voice note and we're calling her Tsepiso, but that's not her real name and she wants to be anonymous because she fears, of course, that she'll be victimized for reaching out. 42 weeks, right? 42 weeks she's been pregnant and she's not considered an emergency. And so they're going to wait until there is a complication and then she does become an emergency to be able to help her.
Isn't a normal term like 39 weeks? So surely this
round about there.
This should be an emergency already.
Even 38 people get C-sections, right? She's at 42 weeks. And they're saying, no, but you're not an emergency yet. The theatre that has not been working, hasn't been working since June. They reported it, they said. But you know, what can they do? They logged a call. And Tsepiso told us she wasn't the only pregnant woman. And she feared for her life and that of her unborn baby. And because we started digging around and nosing about, they made a plan for her. Contrast that with the monies that were spent at Tembisa Hospital. And then the whistleblower who was working within the department flagging the misuse of public funds tells her boss, she says, CFO, I think they're onto us. I'm afraid for my life. The CFO sits on that information, does not escalate it, tells her that she's going to escalate it, but doesn't until the day she's killed. That CFO remains in her position. Make it make sense.
You're with 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bivwa.
Live,
Online,
smartphones, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Paul, you're in Pretoria. You've got an experience with trying to give birth at a public hospital. Tell us your story.
Good morning, Bongani. So 5 years ago, my baby's 5 now. I went to the hospital. I was there for like a couple of days before I went into labor. When I went into labor, I was moved into a setting in a room. So I was there by myself, it being my first child and all. You don't know what you need to do. You don't have anybody guiding you, anybody telling you, do this, do that. So I'm just there screaming for somebody to come and help me. I was in there for like maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm screaming, I'm fussing, I'm pressing buttons, I'm switching lights on and off. And my baby was born. By the time my baby was born, like when I had calmed down, done screaming and everything, then somebody comes in and they're like, oh, your baby's born. Like in my mind, like I was so scared because when the baby comes out, I was thinking, what if my baby fell? What if something happened to my child? I could have actually lost my child. But then at that point, you're like, you know what? They already cheated me this way, so let me just be quiet, let me not complain, let me not say anything, because you're scared of what might happen afterwards. Because I mean, they're going to take my baby away. You don't know what they're going to do to your child if they left you in that situation, you know. They had to get a doctor.
So hold on, but you essentially delivered by yourself. They only came
by myself. Yes, they only came when my baby was already there. And my child just came, she just comes out and she's looking at me and I'm looking at her. And I don't know, because I mean, I've already screamed so loud. Nobody came to help me. They had to get a doctor. The doctor couldn't stitch. They had to get a gynae. By the time the gynae came, it was so low that you actually feel the pain as they stitch you up, you know, because obviously there wasn't somebody there to assist. Yeah, like even now thinking about it, I'm shaking. Like every time I looked at it, it took me a while to get over it. Like I get emotional every time I think about it.
I can only imagine.
To have another child because of that traumatic incident that you had to experience in the first place, you know? So, yeah, I'm not saying all hospitals are like that, but that experience was just, yeah, I don't know. I don't have
It's all too common. It's all too common. Listen, at this stage, you can focus on your bundle of joy. You can focus on your child. Your child is well, healthy. That's about all you can do at this stage. But a big hug to you, and I really, really thank you for sharing your story. Hey?
Thank you so much.
You're very brave, Mpho. You're very brave. Thank you so much.
No, listen, thank you so much, Bongani, and have an awesome weekend.
You too, Mpho in Pretoria. That story is all too common, isn't it? Oh gosh, I really appreciate the openness of so many of our callers who phone in and share harrowing moments that are triggers for them, but they tell us anyway, so we thank you for that. Sibongile in Randburg, your niece had a similar experience in Middleburg.
Yes, I just wanted to add, I didn't know that this was so common, as you say, but she's literally going through this now. For the last few weeks, she keeps getting sent back home, and she doesn't have public transport. I mean, she uses public transport. She's got labor pains, but they keep saying, no, it's not an emergency. The baby's not kicking as often. It's just ridiculous. The public sector is not treating our women right. I don't know.
How far is she in her pregnancy, Sibongile? Do you know?
She's past her 40 weeks thing. I personally don't have a kid, so I don't know the weeks, but she's past the weeks that she's supposed to have given birth.
So at this point, you'd expect that they would induce, right? They'd induce the labor.
Exactly. And they keep saying, no, go back. And then the nurses treat them terribly. It's just terrible.
You know what gets to me, Sibongile? One can understand that things go wrong and that the wheels of government take a little bit of time to get things sorted. It's the dismissiveness that gets to me. It's the lack of care, lack of empathy, right?